It's a mess in this attic.
Lot going on, but there ain't no need to panic. Come on up and join me. Getting wild, getting manic. Spitting truth for all you fanatics. Every week got something new to say. Ain't no filter, this shit's coming straight from the brain. It's coming straight from the brain. It's coming straight from the brain. What's up, everybody? Today is Tuesday, June 29th, 2021. This is A Talk in the Attic, and I'm your host, Kirk Ross. I certainly hope this episode finds you all doing well, heading into July. For those of you frantically adjusting the sound settings in your car, scrambling feverishly to find that familiar vocal tone so you can enjoy this episode as you usually do, relax. Because today's episode is all about a weird phenomenon called autonomous sensory meridian response, better known as ASMR. You might already be feeling a strange sensation traveling from the top of your brain, in the back of your dome, down your neck, tingling ever so slightly at the very sound of my whispering. But whispering isn't the only way to trigger this odd physiological response, which I'll demonstrate today both audibly and visually throughout the episode, which is an educational one. But before I get into exactly what ASMR is, I've got to stop whispering. But before I can stop whispering, I've got to start the show. So, let's start the show. Alright, I'm back. I'm sorry things got so whispery back there. But let's break it the F down, people. ASMR, Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. A is for autonomous, because when we're faced with certain visual or auditory stimuli called triggers, our nervous systems simply react on their own. S is for sensory, because our eyes and ears sense whatever is triggering that response. In other words, you don't have to do anything but watch and listen. It's all taken care of in a sensory fashion. M and R mean meridian response, because the body feels a nearly orgasmic peak of energy when faced with whatever it is making you feel this way. I bet you didn't expect to experience multiple brain orgasms today, did you? Sorry in advance for tiring you out. Hopefully you won't have to change your hat after this one. But wait. Just because it's referred to as a brain orgasm doesn't mean it's sexual, at least not for everyone. Now, I fully realize that essentially everything I do oozes sexuality. But pretend for a second that I'm not the David Hasselhoff of podcasting, and if you can, I bet you'll find that ASMR, while tingly and exciting, is not sexy. It's actually creepier than it is sexy, not dissimilar to calling oneself the David Hasselhoff of podcasting, for instance. There are millions and millions and millions of hours of ASMR videos flooding the internet every day. These videos range from scientific.
Do the classic water fountain trick. First, I need a little bit of water in a conical flask. And I'll put the rest of the water in the beaker.
To strange. To downright bizarre at times. Point is, ASMR can rear its head from the sights and sounds of any number of activities. There's whispering. Hey, what's up, you? I'm talking to you personally. Yeah. Blowing. Eating. Concentrating on something. Rubbing. Brushing hair. Other grooming activities. Turning the pages of a book. For some reason, words with S, P, and K elicit positive responses, especially when whispered. What's up, kids? The parakeets speak more specifically than I had previously considered. Until YouTube, there was no reference to the ASMR phenomenon that I could find, making it a relatively new concept, at least by name. But that doesn't mean ASMR didn't exist before YouTube, because it most certainly did. Sometime last year, I happened across a subreddit called Unintentional ASMR, which features user-uploaded content of videos that include ASMR, but that are not specifically intended to be ASMR. One such video that was uploaded was actually a scene from The Matrix, the original one, in which Agent Smith is preparing to interrogate Mr. Anderson, aka Neo. It's an intense scene that makes your hair stand on end. By the way, that's a common response to ASMR triggers. Not that you're interested in my internet beefs, especially not outdated ones, but I do feel like I have to tell you this one quickly. Regarding the Matrix video, a back and forth had developed between a user named Zappy and I on Reddit, in which Zappy was trying to convince me that ASMR present in the Matrix had to have been an accident because the term ASMR hadn't yet been coined in 1999. I replied kindly that while ASMR hadn't been identified at that point, at least not widely, that the producers, directors, and sound editors of The Matrix certainly intentionally included this content. Zappy disagreed fervently, at which point I walked away from the discussion. But come on, Zappy, if you're listening, you should know a couple things. First off, virtually nothing is unintentional in The Matrix. Good directors are deliberate in every choice they make. Lily and Lana Wachowski are certainly no exception. Secondly, just because the internet hasn't had the chance to name, fetishize, and endlessly post about a concept doesn't mean it's a novel one. Lastly, what's up with downvoting my kind-hearted responses, Zappy? Chill out, Zappy. Relax. Hey, speaking of chilling out and relaxing, it's reported that ASMR triggers near immediate relaxation in those who experience it. Symptoms include reduced heart rates, slowed breathing, and low-grade euphoria, all of which are widely reported by the fans of this phenomenon. But why in the world would a video of a dude slurping up noodles be relaxing? Why do I feel better after watching and hearing a random YouTuber brushing his hair or rubbing her fingers together? Why does a whisper make your spine tingle regardless of what's being whispered? The consensus seems to be that each of these examples, eating, close personal touch, grooming, whispering, these are all things that we have physically experienced in our real lives. And in almost every case, we were relaxed and comfortable and safe when we first experienced them. When someone whispers to you, it's really the ultimate form of personal attention, isn't it? I'm talking to you, and you only. You're being singled out specifically for this communication. That's how important and special you are. You only brush your hair when you're safe, right? Rarely are you being chased by a villain and you stop for a quick hairbrush. Another example, hearing your best friend's jaw clicking while chewing a sandwich is annoying as fuck when you're sitting right next to him every day in the cafeteria. But if you're seeking comfort and familiarity and you're missing that friend, then it sounds like a safe symphony of sonic serenity. I like that. Sounds like a safe symphony of sonic serenity. It's wild to think about, isn't it? We're all so connected to our friends, at least virtually, that we're only a click away at any given moment to communicating with them. But this idea of instantaneous connection comes at the cost of real intimacy in actual social settings. I know, we've all made this connection and correlation before, so much so that it's become cliche. Sure, we've all got hundreds of Facebook friends, but how many face-to-face friends do we have, huh? But in the context of ASMR, this trope takes on a new set of lessons. First off, it's a little depressing, honestly, that we're all so lonely that millions of people across the world take to YouTube each day and hear and see something that makes them feel safer because they don't feel safe themselves. Makes them feel less lonely because they feel lonely. Makes them feel more like we did when we were around more people. But when viewed from the right perspective, there's a positive angle too. Because as paradoxical as it sounds, there actually is hope, at least to me, in the idea that the very thing driving us apart is there to pacify us and bring us back together too. Yes, YouTube and Facebook have proven divisive and isolating. Just go back and look at the most toxic time in Facebook history. Yes, of course, I'm talking about the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. No, let's look at the election timing, divisive, isolating. But YouTube and Facebook also offer millions of hours of ASMR content, which then in turn helps us feel like we're together again. There's optimism in this idea that we can repurpose that which ails us to that which heals us. That said, I'm not advocating for any of you to get really into ASMR rather than reconnecting with your actual friends. Quite the opposite, in fact. It's no surprise that it was the lockdown of 2020 that led to the largest increase in ASMR content to ever be seen. It's because we were all longing for a little familiarity and comfort during that bizarre, isolating era. But now here we are in summer of 2021, almost July of 2021. We're free to move about our lives again, unencumbered by masks or fear. And we should all be taking advantage of this. Let's ditch the ASMR and get back to actually experiencing the people and places and sounds that make us feel safe and make us feel loved. And further, when we do visit these folks and these places, let's participate in a lot of skin-on-skin massages. Let's slurp noodles together. Let's communicate exclusively by whisper. Maybe each of you could even brush my hair, possibly. I don't know. And for God's sake, let's be sure to never take our friends and family for granted. Someday, all we'll have are pictures and sounds of our loved ones, and they of us. So it's incumbent on each of us to make sure that we create new, actual, physical memories of serene familiarity. That way, in the future, we're less reliant on tricking our ears and eyes into feeling love through ASMR, and instead we can rely on our actual friends to feel actual safety and actual love in the real world. I hope you enjoyed today's installment. I know it was a quick one, but hopefully it was a little educational. There's some links in the show notes about the sources I use, as well as a few other ASMR YouTube channels. Peace out, everybody. Oh, yeah. A nice whisper. Oh, yeah. A nice whisper. Oh, yeah. A nice whisper. Yeah.